should be good to go. Just gonna wait for the stream to actually appear on my phone. Because, you know, that's the thing. There we go. And we're live. Alright. Let's do this shit. So, hey everybody. Today, we're just waiting, chilling, while we, for the Overwatch 2 beta to spread out to everybody who's opted in. And it's gonna start in about, like, 4 hours from now. But until then, we're gonna do some VOD reviewing of the Overwatch League 2022 season. And today we're going to take a look at the Dallas Fuel versus NYXL series that was almost a reverse sweep. Like Dallas Fuel with their stacked roster should have won this, but somehow, some way, NYXL, despite all their problems being a team, managed to almost claw themselves out of the hole. So, let's see how exactly that happens. Also, if you guys do like this kind of content, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me a lot in growing it. And we're gonna go ahead and skip the discussion between Mitch and Matt. Despite how I like these casters, they're probably my favorite casting pair in all of Overwatch League. Not that there's any bad casting pair in this season. I think everybody's really good. It's just that Matt and Uber, Mr. X and Uber, kinda top tier for me. But anyway, let's see. Okay, so I think this is the comps that they're gonna be running. Well, Flora's gonna switch back to Tracer. Okay, so they're just running standard dive. Dallas has a little bit more spam, right? Spam, just because they've got the Hanzo. And then New York Excelsior is just going for the quick kills. Because they've got the Doomfist Genji Tracer combination. And of course you have the Genji because you've got Nano Boost. And then as per both teams, they've got 2 flex supports. Which pretty much tells me that they wanna switch between spamming and healing. I mean, poking. Well, I guess the Zen is gonna be poking and spamming, but yeah. So that's basically it. Dallas Fuel comp a little bit slower than the NYXL, but I mean, Kellen needs to do some work, and Yaki and Flora need to follow up immediately because Kellen is just gonna get melted by this. Especially since there's Zen. Ooh, that is... Wait. Well, first of all, okay, so it's because Myeongbong is over here. I can't really blame him because you want to have a crossfire between your 2 supports, right? And it's unfortunate that he just got logged. That's basically a fight over right there, unless NYXL gets another pick, which I don't think they can, unless Chio just feeds. Also in this comp, I think the most diveable target, or the highest priority target, should be the Zen. Unless they have Trans, right? Because, as far as I know, the nade for Ana actually stacks, right? With the passive heal. And all you need to do is hide inside a bubble or behind a wall for a second. I don't think the latest change to the supports in the most recent Overwatch 2 beta is kicking in. So yeah, nade plus passive heal makes it almost impossible for Fielder or Myeongbong to die. However, Chio, if you just constantly pressure him and You just focus him on your dive. I think the Zen just dies. There's no way to save themselves other than to frag him. To frag whoever is diving him. Very similar fashion to, what do you call this? A Cassidy being dove. So Gunjin takes out Sparkle. I mean, you kind of want to have a follow-up to Edison's spam, right? Because that's the job of the Tracer. Just to poke. And then maybe follow up. And then if the Tracer has an ult, then you go for an assassination. But apart from that, Sparkles, or Sparkies, whatever you call them, Sparkle's job is just to poke and follow up with the amount of damage that the rest of his team is going to be able to do. As for the NYXL, you're kind of looking to engage as fast as possible because Kellen's going to be very, very sad the moment that he gets discorded like this and then gets poked out by both supports and a Hanzo, and then peeled by Fearless the moment that he dives the back line of the Dallas Fuel. So, yeah. Yeah, so Flores doing basically what he needs to be doing. But yeah, like, they need to engage faster, and then Myungbong needs to stop taking that much poke. But then again, it's kind of hard because it's like, good luck seeing this Hanzo from afar. Yeah. Flores evening things up, but I don't think this is gonna be enough. I think this is just gonna stall for a little bit longer because, or maybe not. They get Fielder, but the tanks are here, and then the Tracer's here as well, and they're using the bubble to great effect. Okay, never mind. They leave the point. The rest of the NYXL are here. I mean, so far so good. I'm not really seeing a lot of mistakes yet. Right? The only mistake so far is, like, Myungbong being magnetized to all the arrows that Edison's throwing out. That's about it. Okay, so you need to retake the point as Dallas Fuel on University. I think you take the high ground. I think you need to take the high ground. Right? Without taking as much spam. But you need to secure the high ground because you want Edison to be up there. You don't really want Edison to be on the low ground unless you're defending, right? Defending, and the enemy team, the NYXL, are trying to go in through the low ground inside the tunnel. That's it. That's the only time I think that you take the low ground. I mean, I think they need to be going in as a group. Fearless going in, maybe Fielder goes for the Nano Boost play, and that's why he's positioning over there, but I would have wanted if the rest of the Dallas Fuel were already here. Or at the very least at the choke. But the choke is really dangerous because you've got so many flank paths. Right? Yeah, I think the complete rotation for the Dallas Fuel would have been better. Okay, so they're following up the dive with the Dragon. They're not yet using the, what do you call this, the Nano Boost. Okay. Alright, so they saved Nano Boost to kind of get Chio to the Transcendence. No. Chio, really? Is it? 96, 97. Okay, so the Nano Boost came out just to save Chio. And just buy some more time before going for the Transcendence. Okay. Alright, someone help Fearless, thank you. Okay. Why are you doing this, Kellen? Why? I don't understand that. He's just gotta die. He should die. What? Bruh. This is why I don't really put a lot of faith in NYXL now, and I don't put a lot of faith in NYXL the previous season. It's because Not because Kellen is bad necessarily, but because Kellen will do some weird shit. In the same way that Fate will do some weird shit. And now they're dying piecemeal for the NYXL, and Dallas Fuel already have 97, 98. So yeah, that didn't help at all. So I would say that the biggest problem for new NYXL there is not this. Well, I guess the comp maybe, right? Because it doesn't seem like Kellen is very comfortable playing Doomfist, right? His Doomfist is kind of yo-yoing. I mean, you could play it like that, right? Your Doomfist goes in and then goes back out. Great, fantastic, but with this composition that you have, you kind of have to accept that you're going to die, and that you need... Okay, so Doomfist will die. Will die in this comp 90% of the time, or 90+% of the time. But that's okay, because the idea is that Flora and Yaki and Myeongbong and Gangnam Jin will all just clean up. And that as a Doomfist, you've absorbed the damage. Absorb damage and abilities. Right? And also deal some damage yourself, so that your Tracer and your Genji can just pile on and clean up the fight, right? That's the idea, but Kellen can't even go in. I don't really blame him that much, because Shio exists, and the moment that he dives, Kellen is just discorded. They don't even care about Flora getting discorded or Yaki getting discorded that much. The moment that Kellen is in the equation, like, they will discord the Doomfist and force him out. But yeah, I think I'm not 100% sure, because we don't really have a very good perspective of what the things that are happening, because there's no replay viewer. But Kellen needs to accept that, yeah, he's probably gonna take a lot of damage. He's probably gonna die. But the NYXL need to lean into that and make sure that his death is not gonna be in vain. And yeah. Oh, we went in too far to the future. It's okay. So what comps do we have here right now? For the Dallas... Okay, so this is weird, right? Sometimes they will TP. They will swap to Sim to TP, right? And sometimes they don't. And this is an example of when they don't. And I don't understand why. Because you should be able to blink, triple blink as Tracer anyway. The New York Excelsior will TP, right? And I don't quite get why it's not very uniform. So, anyway. See, that's almost... they're almost together. Okay, so maybe... Okay, so we're gonna theorycraft here and just try to understand why they don't TP. I guess their comp is very much reliant on clumping up. Right? Why? Because they have a Moira. And the Moira heals in a wedge in front of her, right? So it's ideal for them, for the Dallas Fuel to actually group up and play like this, and that's why maybe they don't have a TP, because if they did TP, then their composition would look like this, like the NYXL, and that the Tracer is slightly behind, and they're not like one massive group. So maybe that's why they're doing this. Another interesting thing is where they're rotating to, right? The Dallas Fuel are rotating jump pad. While the NYXL are taking over Mega. Well, I forget what it's called. I forget what it's called, but I'll just call it Mega, or Street, or Highway, whatever. But bottom line is they're rotating in opposite spots. And if you take a close look at the composition from Dallas Fuel, this is, apart from clumping up, this is also very close range. It's a fairly close range comp. Because if you stray too far from Fielder, then you're not gonna get any heals. You're not gonna get much healing from Lucio, right? So, but typically you rotate jump pad to take over this high ground. So it's kind of weird, but then you also could justify this rotation by thinking, well, what if the NYXL were to rotate jump pad with them? Then all of a sudden this comp kind of works. Because if everyone on the NYXL is over here, or even over here, then it's a very easy dive. So it's like the Dallas Fuel will just engage as a single unit and just wipe the floor with the NYXL. As for the NYXL composition, well, okay, so you've got the standard 2 flex support that can poke and has nano boost, whatever. Pretty standard. And then you've got Flora on Sombra, which means that they might be expecting Ball. Or they might also be expecting Doom, right? Because these are the only heroes that I would say would justify a Sombra pick. And apart from that, I don't see Sombra working on anything else. At least not very effectively. Even if you're up against, what do you call this? A Zen. No. I don't really justify that. And then the fact that they do have a Tracer Sombra means that they've got they've got a fair amount of burst, right? But that burst is very much single target. So the key to victory for the NYXL is to engage one target at a time, preferably discorded by Gangnam Jin. And then, as per usual, Kellen, being a Doomfist, needs to be going in and trusting his teammates to clean up. And the reason why they're rotating like this for the NYXL is mostly because they don't want to get dove. Right? So if there's a Ball or a Doomfist on the enemy side, by going in here, it's a little bit harder for the Doomfist to dive, right? It's also fairly difficult for an Echo to just get an angle, because the Echo needs to fly all the way up or all the way around. So, this is basically the anti-dive area. This can be dove. It's a little bit harder the moment that you take over the high ground, but can still be dove fairly easily. So, okay. It's an interesting positioning. The Doomfist is already on the point with the Sombra. They're trying to bait something in. What? Wait. Okay. So, the Sombra TP's all the way up top with the Doomfist. I don't think they know exactly what comp the Dallas Fuel are running, right? So this is still a big question mark for the NYXL. Again, they might be expecting Ball, they might expect Doomfist as well. Which case, there might be a Doomfist that actually just lands over here and tries to set up. Which case, you might be able to take them out with a Sombra. Okay. It's still weird to have them up there and then just wait for this. Okay, as predicted, they're just in there so that they can make this dive from the Dallas Fuel incredibly awkward. Though it's interesting that they're rotating out into the open. And the Dallas Fuel don't seem to mind trying to engage this. Right? if they're rotating out like that, and you control the large high ground in the middle of the point, then why not just try to go for that? Especially since you have a Lucio anyway. There we go. But they suddenly switch targets from there and to Doom, and then Sparkle goes for Tracer. Right now, the only reason I think that they're not discording Kellen is because they don't have line of sight. Wait, no. They can't discord Kellen because they don't have a they don't have a Zen. Duh. NYXL are the ones with the Zen. Sparkle is getting discorded because they want to help Yaki take him out. But the weird bit is that the Dallas Fuel are more than okay with healing for this Doomfist, rather than trying to go for the trade, despite them being faster, despite this Doomfist existing. This is still faster than um, what the NYXL has. So it's kind of weird that they're peeling. And now the Gangnam Jin and Myeongbung are in fairly good position. And also, the Dallas Fury they kind of split up. There we go. Kellen is just going in now. And this is very important to the win, to how the NYXL are supposed to win. With any Doom composition, you just need to trust, as a Doomfist, that your team is gonna follow up. Otherwise, you're not gonna accomplish anything. So. Okay. Sparkle gets hacked. They're looking for the supports, which is the correct thing, but they need to do it quickly, and they need to do it decisively as the Dallas Fuel. Because there's only so much time that the NYXL are going to afford you before they start out-damaging and out-poking you. One by one. Okay, that's big. Who got nanoed? Wait. So nano boost goes to who? I don't know who it went to. Oh, it went to Gangnam Jin so that he can get his ult and not die. Still kind of weird though. Okay. Nice positioning from Gangnam Jin. Almost immediately goes to the tiny place. Unfortunately, just got chased down. I think a better place to rotate to is over here. I don't think he had enough time. And also there's gonna be Sparkle, or not Sparkle, Edison, just hunting him down. But at the very least, it's not gonna be easily diveable for Fearless, right? Fearless is right over there. Chio can also dive in if so desired. So I think behind this pillar right here would have been better. Ideally over here, but it's whatever. Here's the weird bit. Why use it now? They have beat. Maybe it's the force beat, right? The EMP to force beat, which is... Did they even force beat? Because the NYXL still have control of the point, right? Edison is about to die, but how much do you value that? They don't even have healers right now for the NYXL. And Sombra is not gonna deal that much damage. Well, let's see if they actually use the beat. They shouldn't, honestly. They just need to clean this up. Fielder just needs to keep up with the crowd. It's relatively safe, yeah. They don't even use the beat, so that's a weird one from Flora. I don't know why they used it. It's not even to stall the point. It's just kind of weird. Hmm. Okay, wait. The NYXL switched supports at some point. Okay, so it's after that fight. Gangnam Jin was thinking about Lucio goes for the Brig and the BAP. So the BAP plus Brig combo is essentially an almost undiveable or very difficult to dive. Difficult to dive, right? It's incredibly difficult to dive this because they survive forever. Now the question is, well, I guess it's easier to dive a Zen plus an Ana, right? Neither of them are mobile. They're not exactly super survivable. You kind of lose your Discord, which is kind of bad. But you also gain an ability to poke, right? Using BAP, because Sparkle just switched to Echo. So maybe that's it. You just have a very survivable backline and a way to poke out this guy, Sparkle. And then you just hope and pray that your front line is gonna go ham and kill things. While the Dallas Fuel spend too much time trying to kill their backline. I think that's the hope. I think that's the principle behind this. Okay. I mean, they're slowly getting surrounded. Oh, okay, so this is why they engage. Because Gangnam Jin is very close. And then Fearless also goes in. Okay. Yeah, Myungbong gets booped into traffic. Okay. But wait. How is this working against the Dallas Fuel is my question. Oh, Chio got stuck by the pulse bomb. Alright. And then Gangnam Jin managed to push Fearless into the cars as well. Okay. So that's why things just went to shit. It's because those were some very key kills from the NYXL's supports. Supports and Yaki. No, Gangnam Jin and Yaki. Yeah, that's why they flip. That's how they flip. That's really unfortunate for Chio, though. Man, it's kind of rough being Kellen. Okay, so they beat aggressively. Alright, I can get behind it. They are exploding onto them. And for the most part, the NYXL were kind of caught out. I don't think they expected that. Like, they were corralled into one small corner. All of them. Almost. Right? Here's both supports. There's the tank. I think the Tracer's about to come in as well. No. They don't even go in. It's only now that Flora actually came back for him. And the Tracer. Okay. So if you're the Dallas Fuel, how do you win? You win by chilling, actually. You don't need to, you just need to do that again. You just need to bait them here. This is your kill box right here. Well, kill boxes, because this is a similar kill box right here. You prevent the supports from the NYXL from rotating here or here completely. Or maybe you can even force them to rotate here, but I don't think they're that bad. And yeah, you just chill on point. You just monitor where they're rotating on the NYXL side and make sure that the supports do not have free passage. That's it. That's all you need to do as the Dallas Fuel.
Coalescence available and Sparkle with a duplicate. You could dupe the break here.
So Geo pokes, he scouts. Okay.
Solid
Pretty standard shit. They're holding very close, so this means that Fielder, they're going for this play. And maybe if Sparkle gets too low, he will go for a duplicate. But I don't really like it, just because right now they have positional advantage, right? They just force them into a choke. Just force them into a choke. You don't need to go past the choke because that's incredibly dangerous, especially this, against an EMP that's really close, and against a pulse bomb. Because if you group up like this over here, that pulse bomb suddenly becomes really, really deadly to more than one person. So I would rather have it that they just wait, they just chill. Flora's almost dead. Gets the EMP, goes for the EMP, stops the coalescence, right? Sparkle is forced to go for the duplicate because the duplicate is the only thing that's gonna keep him alive. And now, yeah, this is gonna go to shit because Fearless is almost dead again. Okay. Yeah, that was a throw from the Dallas Fuel. They didn't need to do that at all. The Brig BAP combination is so much more powerful if they're already in position and no longer having to rotate. Even more powerful when both of their DPS and their tanks are ready to peel for them. So that was a weird choice from the Dallas Fuel. They did not need to do any of that. And they would have won, I think. I honestly think that they would have won that had they not just engaged in that place. Anyway, here's the replay. This is the part where Gangnam Jin just gets triple. Ugh. I love how the kick is not yet that much of a factor. because most teams are playing a fair distance away from the Zen. So, Dallas Fuel going with the exact same composition. On this map, on Gardens, I think it's okay because you've got Hookah, which is an enclosed space, right? With this comp, this might work. Hookah is also fairly friendly to getting flanks from an echo. You also have the point itself, which is somewhat open but forces everyone to be in close range for a dive from almost anywhere. So this is an okay comp. I have no questions about it. NYXL. For the NYXL, they're sticking with what worked on the previous map, and my comment on that is it worked on the previous map because the Dallas Fuel just threw hard on the previous map. And as for how this is supposed to work, so your Doomfist again goes in, he dives. Doomfist dives. Right? Your Sojourn dives with him. Preferably using the, what do you call this? Disruptor. Shot. And then Tracer roams around, tries to go for finishing kills, whatever, on weak targets, pokes the backline. There's not really much of a backline that you can poke here, so you're probably dueling Edison or Sparky as Yaki. right? Or if Fielder dives with them, maybe Fielder. But Fielder is probably going to stick around inside Fearless's bubble, so it's going to be tough. And then, yeah, you just, again, as with any Doomfist comp in the present age, you just need to hope and pray that the Doomfist deals enough damage and that the rest of the team is able to just follow up with that damage. And that's the game plan for the NYXL. You need to rotate high ground, I think, because you want your Sojourn to have a high field of view. And this is kind of rough to play against just because, let's see. You're kind of hoping that they're still inside hookah if you're the NYXL. Why? Because that's easier to dive. There's a smaller space for this disruptor shot that's been used by Flora to trap people in it or to prevent escape or splitting up. But since they already have this large high ground on the point for the Dallas Fuel, they can deny that, and then there's not really any good angles for the Sojourn for Flora to spam them, right? Not from hookah at the very least. And then if Sojourn tries to get onto the high ground, like mega punish. Just so many things here are already ready to kill that Sojourn. And to top it all off, Kellen basically engages alone. And now they don't have a tip of the spear. I think Kellen might even die. Okay, never mind, he didn't die. But yeah, there was no follow-up to that dive from the Doomfist. Like, no one on the NYXL were ready. At all. So, this is also fairly difficult to just spam, right? Because there's just so much healing from Fielder. Yeah.
Or just put a ton of pressure on the Doom, right? Like, it's so easy to hit this Doomfist with the sticky bombs if he stood there with the power
The sticky bomb's like a shot or two of damage, and then start to get the focusing beam, and he has to run away.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do in that type of position.
Power block early from Kellen.
That's a fairly bad disruptor shot. They have nothing left anymore to do this dive. They do get Sparkle though. They do have the high ground, but this fight is going too long. There's only so much that the Brig and the BAP can do. Actually, it's way beyond that. There's only so much this Doomfist can do to stay in the fight. It's not so much that their supports are eventually going to run out of cooldowns to make themselves survive this. It's more of Kellen is just gonna die. Kellen needs to do some work, a lot of work, especially since his backline is not gonna be focusing on healing him. It's very difficult, especially from afar. And Doomfist does need to dive really, really far. Interesting, they rally first, but then again, it's to counter this beat, right? But yeah, they're just trapped inside this thing. They can't get a good angle. They don't have a very good follow-up to Kellen.
But if you can't win a fight like that, if you're New York with what you had with this composition, it's not going to work. You have to switch off of it.
It's not just that. Dude, it's rough to play as Kellen right now because there's no follow-up. No one is following up. It's not completely NYXL's fault. But at the same time, their game plan, their win condition is not being fulfilled at all. It's almost impossible to do. Yeah. Okay, so that's map 1 done and dusted. I think the only thing that we learned here is that Dallas fuel through. That's why this isn't a 2-0. Not 2-0 because throwing, right? And yeah, that's it. And right now they're getting hard carried. NYXL are getting hard carried by Gangnam Jin and Yaki, and sometimes Flora. Plus, Kellen needs to work on Doomfist. Doomfist needs practice. Or at the very least, the entire team needs to practice more Doomfist comp and how it's supposed to play. Because there's no follow-up. There's absolutely no follow-up. And I suppose part of it is also the composition that the Dallas Fuel are running. Because the Dallas Fuel are running a comp where there's no backline to dive. So it's kind of rough. But then I will argue that you could maybe just go for the Winston. You kind of have to accept the fact that the Dallas Fuel composition is faster than yours. But that's okay because you can maybe tank it because you've got 2 tanky supports. So for as long as your team sticks together, you might be able to survive the dive and counterattack. Just like what happened with the second map. Uh, Barring any ults that were used. So, anyway, we're gonna skip the break. We're gonna go forward in time.
Doomfist as well. Looks like that's what we're going to see from the NYXL on defense here to kick things off. It'll be the Doomfist
As I drink some water.
Ana and the Zen for that backline.
Genji Tracer. I mean, you have an Ana, so, you know, you can go for Lenanu boost. And again, you're just going to go for poke with your backline and then your front line. Since your backline can support them with heals from afar, you're okay. That's basically the NYXL game plan right now. Play as far away as possible with your supports, right? These guys need to play in Narnia, which at this part of, well, at this point anyway, they haven't crossed this. So yeah, this is Narnia. And the Dallas Fuel are going for this comp? Okay, so they're almost mirror. It's just that they have, the Dallas Fuel have an Echo and a Winston. Again, I would say that the Dallas Fuel composition is again slower because Winston versus Doomfist. So what would win for them is to slowly gain territory, right? They need to push here or here fairly slowly while getting rid of Kellen if he dives in, or Yaki, whatever he dives in. Basically tanking the dive, and if they try to avoid Fearless or any of the front line of the Dallas Fuel, then the Dallas Fuel need to go back and peel. That's basically it. I don't think they can trade that well. So Fearless gets pushed in, and Discorded dead. Yeah, they need to take this a little bit slower if you're on the Dallas Fuel. The NYXL, that was a pretty good engage. Fearless was just out of position without any form of support. He's taking so much poke. Okay, so this is a little bit slower, but everybody needs to be on the exact same page. Sparky is almost dead, or Sparkle is almost dead. Yeah, I think you just need to wait for the engage from the Doomfist. I don't think Kellen is engaged yet.
I think.
I need to see.
It is. It is.
Yeah, Kellen is just doing that and then not going in. So you need to wait for Kellen to actually go in before the Dallas Fuel comp goes in themselves, right? Going inside here is great because it's very difficult for Doomfist to dive it, or for anything to dive it, really. It's just that you just need to wait, man. Need to wait a little bit more. You're not gonna win the trade. Not against this comp. Yeah.
I mean, New York looked. They
And
looked
again, zero ults invested from the NYXL. Not even a pulse bomb.
good in
They
that
didn't
loss,
need it.
right? They looked good in that loss of map number one, like better than we've seen from them over their kind of last period stretches. Starting off here on Eichenwald, pretty
For
strong.
the Dallas Fuel, just slow push. Go inside that little cubby. You don't need to poke him that much. Okay, so now you can be a little bit more aggressive just because that Doomfist did go in, but there's a nano boosted tracer, so you need to respect that. Alright, they have zero cooldowns. This. So the plan right now for the Dallas Fuel is to try and trade up. They're going to try and take out both supports from the NYXL, which I guess in Overwatch 1 is true. But I think getting rid of the Doomfist as well is just as important. Or first is just as important. And also getting rid of the DPS. Just poking them out. It's unfortunate that Fearless could not get that kill on the Genji, and then Gangnam Jin just pops off.
From even getting a tick here, Mitch.
I think that would have been somewhat possible, still difficult in my opinion. I think you just need to peel for your backline and get rid of the DPS first, survive the dive from the NYXL, and then push forward. Get rid of the supports. So now it's a little bit more difficult because ults are in the equation, especially from Gangnam Jin. But you have more ults on the Dallas Fuel, I think. Yeah, you have more ults, so the Dallas Fuel should be able to win this.
Well, the one thing that Sparkle was doing a good job was.
Okay, so that's one DPS down. Kellen has been perma-discorded, so he's not really gonna engage. And I think he also got... He has no cooldowns anymore. And that's why he's not in this equation.
The issue is Sparkle
Finally dies over there.
in a situation where they'll take everybody else out. As that'll be
There you go.
point taken there.
Fairly clean engage from the Dallas Fuel.
This with an echo of his own.
Seen plenty of Yaki's echo in the past. Flora, this means that he is on Tracer.
It's a really rough engage for the first two fights, though.
Quickly, or even quicker, rather. Probably
Okay.
pretty helpful here. It means that
So another key to victory for the Dallas Fuel is to engage in different angles. But then again, that's kind of true for almost every single composition right now. But yeah, you want to split your attack angles. So Doomfist might come in from here, Tracer might come in from here, and then Yaki on Echo might come from above. And then the support line for the NYXL will take this high ground and attack from a different angle. Maybe your support line might even rotate, like your Ana might be here for the NYXL, and then the Zen is gonna be here. Or at least on the castle, on the other side of the castle, across the bridge. So yeah. This is pretty good from the NYXL so far. And then for the Dallas Fuel, I mean, why didn't they just go forward and try to take over the castle, right? Because they did
It's Yaki Lamp
they did have all the bodies alive.
and Koga.
Yeah, this is strange. I mean, they could just put 3 on it, right? I would love for Edison to go in there and then for Fearless to go up top. And then maybe Sparky is gonna be poking from above. right? I would have loved that over this. They're just grouping up on the point, which makes no sense because there's no resistance coming in. All of these are very recent kills. So what they should have done was actually put people forward so that the NYXL don't have a clean, what do you call this? They don't have a clean take of the castle, of the high ground. So now it's going to be a little bit rough for the Dallas Fuel because they're going to go through a choke. And the NYXL are already in position. Yeah, this is some just very light pokes. And Edison is alone, not really doing anything. Okay, so now the Dallas Fuel are going in. The castle. But yeah, I think this is too late. This is just too late. The NYXL were already in position. Okay. Yeah, there's no way that Chio's gonna be able to escape that one. So how do you get out of this as the Dallas Fuel? Expend ults, maybe rotate somewhere else, right? You don't want to go through that choke, but then again, there's not really a lot of other chokes that you can do. You can rotate to rather. Another option is to have Sparky, or Sparkle rather, try to force Kellen out, because Kellen is just hiding above this. So that's another option that you have. Just constantly poke him. Okay. I mean, Fearless does not get caught out by Kellen, right? If Kellen was over here, he slammed over here and then punched him in, I think that's a kill. All Myeongbong and Gangnam Jin have to do is just rotate stairs. They have sightline of this monkey. And I think that would be a dead Fearless. But yeah, it's a little bit risky though. They would be in sightline of the rest of the Dallas Fuel, right? If they punched him in. So this is fine. And as predicted, Ana is over here. Zen is going to be over here. They split their supports because they want to be able to spam from different angles and attack from different angles.
Some push from Dallas. The CO comes back. It's the kind of posturing from a team that knows they have transcendence and want to get the Winston in position to make this.
It's interesting that no one's attacking right now for the NYXL. Why is that? Maybe they're tracking this correctly, right? They don't really want to engage into this. Makes their comp or their dive pretty useless actually. If they dive right now. Also, Chio's playing really far away. Actually, the supports are playing really far away. So the best choice for attacking is actually the front line right now for the NYXL, right? They need to poke these guys out somehow. It's really tough though. There's only one ult for NYXL. So yeah, they're playing slow. That's why they're not really diving right now. Oh baby, those jukes. Those jukes and the nade. And it's stacked up, I think, with the recovery for the passive for supports, and then there's also the orb from Gangnam Jin. And to top it all off, actually, wait, what happened to the dive? So there, that happens. Did he get booped off? Did Gangnam Jin actually kick Fearless? Didn't seem like it. I think that dive would have actually landed him on the bridge, so my question is, why didn't he go for it? That was weird. Wait. So, Sparky, or Sparkle gets... I keep saying Sparky, I don't know why. Sparkle gets the nano boost. Beam. Nah, I don't think he meleeed. I don't think Gangnam Jin meleeed him off of it. At least doesn't seem like it. I don't know why the dive did not continue for Fearless. And yeah, that's weird. I think Myungbong would have been dead. Especially if he managed to bubble here instead of there. It's weird. I think Fearless clipped the edge. That's also a possibility, right? Because, yeah, it seems like he's sliding off of this or off of that. Which is incredibly unfortunate. This would have been a good dive. Oh, man. Chio uses his ult for nothing. Oh, baby. Okay, Gangnam Jin might die. Never mind, Myungbong is just there. Myungbong just killed both of the supports. Oh, no. Oh, no. Because of that ledge, they lost this fight. Well, apart from that, Chio used this ult for nothing. He tried to... Fielder also used this ult for nothing, technically speaking, because Sparkle just died. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, why are they doing this as NYXL, and why is it working? Apart from the nano boost, of course. Okay, so it's working because both of the supports are inside the small room. You've got a charged Doomfist with a nano boost, and yes, this is gonna of course work. Oh no. Okay, I mean that's a lost fight, but it's a very quick wipe, right? So you're kinda okay with it. That's just to salt the wound right there. Why am I painting some silver linings for the Dallas Fuel? I shouldn't be doing that. They're playing this poorly. They played poorly in the first map. I should be roasting them if ever. Wait. Why are the echoes dueling? I mean, I get that Yaki is trying to get the attention of Sparkle, right? That makes sense. But why is Sparkle obliging him? Also, Chio just swapped to Brig. And this tells me we're dying too much in the backline. We need to become a little bit tankier and a little bit less suicidal. I don't know. Sparkle's ego is hurt, Kappa? I guess. I mean, Sparkle actually unironically goes for some very ego engages himself, right? It's one of his, like, problems. He tries to out mechanic the enemy team, whereas that kind of only works in ranked, and he gets caught out.
It seems like it's just more protection for the Doom, right? That the Doom and the Tracer are really giving them problems, so they want to try and provide a little bit more safety.
Okay, how was that rotation from the Zen even possible? What? How? Oh, okay, wait. So Yaki isn't even just doing this for shits and giggles to get Sparkle's attention, right? Yaki, or Flora is actually being assisted, or Flora is assisting Yaki, there we go, in killing this Echo right now. Especially since the pocket right now for the Dallas Fuel isn't very good, right? You've got 3 charges of Brig packs for Sparkle, and that's it. So you're wasting all of the... So they're kind of baiting all of the resources on Sparkle right now. So that this engage, the future engage for the NYXL is going to be a lot more powerful. Because by then, well, ideally, there's not going to be enough on Chio to save Fielder. I think that's what they're doing. Apart from, you know, 2v1ing an Echo. Okay. So Echo's dead. Oh, okay, so that's why, that's how they're able to get away with that. I don't know how Myungbong survives this. Okay, so Gangnam Jim was able to do that rotation because he transcended, and Fearless could not get away and did not get a kill on Myungbong. Oh, oh my god, that just clipped the brig. Oh no. But yeah, they didn't have enough resources to survive any of this. All because they dumped it all on Sparkle. Because Sparkle was too aggressive and he was being focused on by two people. Okay, never mind. They're turning it around. Sparkle is out mechanicking the enemy team. Never mind. Yeah, he gets two ults. What? That's insane. Myungbong was too high and hit a wall, so he could strafe back on. That's really unlucky. Okay, Sparkle actually carried that one. Holy shit. He came back from spawn and actually carried that fight. He had two ults from Doomfist. Holy shit. The NYXL thought they could, but they couldn't. They couldn't get rid of his, what do you call this? His duplicate. That was actually pretty clutch. Despite how aggressive Sparkle is from time to time. Yeah, this is not gonna be winnable for the NYXL. They should just focus on third point. Yeah, they're too far away. They're too split up. Yeah. Best is to just wipe. This is weird. Okay, look. You have all of your guys here. Why are you still on the point? Why? Move forward, for God's sakes. Oh no. They don't even need that many people on point. They could just leave. Okay, wait. Who can you leave on point? This is an actual what do you call this? Problem in the Overwatch 2. A legit problem that most coaches struggle with. Because who the hell do you actually leave on point in a 5v5? Right? Leaving your main support, or your flex support on point is not great because, you know, this is an easy dive target, right? You want your speed, so you can't leave a Lucio on point. You want someone who can engage really, really fast, and Doomfist needs to be in position. It's a lot easier for a Doomfist that already has the position rather than one that has to get into position and then use cooldowns. Right? Obviously, you're not going to leave an Echo on it. And Tracer right now has a Pulse Bomb, so you're not going to be using the Tracer to push the payload, at least not in this one. Yeah, Tracer is typically the thing that you, or the hero that you push payload with, right? However, if the Tracer has Pulse Bomb, you don't want to have the Tracer push payload, because you're using the Tracer to assassinate someone really quick so that you can get a very fast fight, right? So it's not going to be Tracer, at least not in this scenario. So, in this one, who the hell do you leave on point? Who do you leave on payload? Yeah, I think despite how stupid it might be, and Feeler's gonna be definitely a target, Feeler's probably gonna be pushing. And then Edison needs to be roaming ever since that goddamn gate was broken down, along with his team. They're just really slow about this on the Dallas Fuel side. Okay, Edison gets a really good kill, and there we go. This should be over actually. Yeah, now Fielder plays really far back because he doesn't really need to play on point anymore. His team can basically rotate out to point, push it, and also play really, really defensive, and be able to counterattack at the same time. So I guess in Overwatch 2, whoever pushes the point is a lot more dynamic. In Overwatch 1, it's a lot more static because it's either the Tracer if you're playing a dive, or the D.Va if you're, well, also playing a dive, or a brawl. Oh, for God's sakes, what the hell happened? I just fucking talked about who the fuck is supposed to push payload and suddenly this happens. For fuck's sake. Okay, Fearless gets pushed out. Wait, how did... What? Where did this... Where did that echo even come from? Where did Yaki come from? Yeah, he just came from the side. What? No one was checking for this? Excuse me? Alright, they used Nano Boost at the very least. But I think they should have used it on Fearless. They needed Fearless to be like holding more aggressive, and the way that you can do that is just keeping it in the fight by using the Nano Boost. But the biggest thing there is Yaki should not be able to get past everyone who's watching the spawns, who then assassinates Fielder, who then had to like fucking use his Nano Boost out of nowhere, unideally, on a target who eventually dies. Holy shit. This was Dallas Fuel's game or map to just to lose, and what the fuck? Bruh. Bruh. They shouldn't get any kills. Yeah, they shouldn't get any kills. But they are being forced forward though. So yeah, this dive from Kellen's not gonna get any kills, but the idea is to just corral them onto the point where the rest of your team are. Okay, there we go. For a while there, it got really scary because Edison just got 3 kills, or 3 people on the Dallas Fuel, or the NYXL died, but yeah. Even from that point, there was no way that NYXL could counter throw. Holy shit. But my god, that flank from Yaki actually saved their asses so hard.
New York, they'll start things off with Yaki on the Echo here. I think this is a better...
I mean, Echo is just so much superior to Genji anyway, so why would you play a Genji? Unless you're really confident that your Genji is cracked. Your Genji needs to be cracked. And his blades need to be more so even more cracked. Right? Especially with Nano. That's it. That's the only reason why you'd get a Genji, I'd say. My favorite character is the Genji guy. I mean, everybody is. Everybody who plays this game is a weeb. Either secretly or overtly.
It definitely makes like Sparkle think a little bit, right? He's gonna have to deal with Yaki up in the sky, not let him just kind of like...
Which means the Seagull is probably a weeb and he's just closeted.
And just more consistent damage, which I think is what New York lacked there early on in the series.
Like, what do you make of a Winston dive defense on Eichenwalder? It just seems so bizarre.
Wait, how did... Okay. Wait. So, for a Doomfist comp to work in attack... Well, first you need to get positions, right? And then you need to catch their backline somewhere. You need to corral their backline in small space. Ideally. Or isolate them. And break their line of sight from each other. Right? Okay.
Sky. Now let him
And if you're the Dallas Fuel, you're just preventing this rotation from happening either by plugging this hole from where the NYXL are trying to set up, or going for the backline dive before the setup even happens.
just kind of like freely move about as you see how low Sparkle gets there.
I mean, they're going for the former,
More consistent damage, which I think
and
is
then they're
your
trying to switch to the latter.
Like, what do you make of
But the problem with this is that Fearless just dives in alone, and there's no follow-up to that. So while yes, you're kind of obstructing the rotation from the NYXL, but you're also at the same time giving them what they want, which is a free kill, because there's no one on the Dallas Fuel following this dive up.
give a Winston dive defense on Eichenwalder? It just seems so bizarre.
it just seems a little bit
Yep.
dated as a comp, right? Like this is a comp that
Yeah, that was a feed.
you could have
Not really because Fearless was feeding. He was doing his job.
obviously
It's just that none of the Dallas Fuel wanted to help him with this job.
updates to even Batiste and
Literally none.
like it just seems like there's more optimal variations of this you can run.
Oh, Fearless is already back. What? Holy shit. That's some quick-ass spawn. What?
Dallas is back now, so Dallas are
Okay.
in a position here where they're back to sort of full strength. Oh, Yaki, okay, he pretty overextended there. I mean, the Discord orb is still very lethal to you when you're nano.
Alright, so Fearless came back, but somehow
Dallas are in a position here.
the New York XL are still able to do this. Okay. They trade echoes, and then Fearless just feeds again, somehow.
Discord orb is still very lethal to you when you're nanoed, man.
I don't know what's happening, man. We don't have good perspectives.
It's kind of like the combo here. Kellen with a nice
Oh no, both of their supports are together.
Solve it. That'll get it done. I think, look, if you can get
Okay. I mean,
yeah, I was just
good kite, I guess, from the NYXL.
like a good nano target in that fight.
I don't know if that was actually part of their plan, but
I think
I mean, it really helped preventing the Dallas Fuel from taking advantage of it.
then they can sort of put that pressure down on the enemy Winston. I also like that Yaki wasn't obsessing about
Okay.
crossing this huge gap to try and, like,
So
field it.
again,
They knew Yaki wasn't obsessing about crossing this huge gap to try and,
Fielder Nano? Wait, really? When?
and that'll-
Bitch, what?
It should be enough though, right?
Oh, he did!
Fearless and Yaki,
He did.
it's kind of like the combo.
And then he nanoed.
Kellen with a nice
Is it? Chio? Really? Well, both of them are anti, that's why there's no healing from... Oh, you're right. Holy shit, this was even worse. Oh my god. Oh my god. Which brings the question of... Okay, so Fielder didn't have nano before. So I guess that's understandable as to why he didn't use it yet.
I will say that Fearless is back now, so Dallas are in a position.
I mean, at this point, you should have used nano if you had it, but yeah, he didn't.
I mean, the
He didn't have nano yet.
lethal to you when you're nano.
At the very least, to try and save Sparkle or Fearless. But yeah.
Yaki, it's kind of like the
Yeah, that's huge, man.
punch there.
And that'll solve it. That'll get it done. I think, look, if you can get.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a sick power block in that sort of punch. I think if you have like a good nano. Does New York really
They're kind of even now with the Dallas or the NYXL, which is not good.
on the enemy Winston?
You know, you want to be ahead in terms of both
Crossing this huge
economy.
like fight fielder, right? They knew they could just sort of kind of work Fearless down because there's not enough healing on Dallas's team to keep Winston alive under Discord orb and under a lot of pressure, especially
Bruh.
with Echo on your team, man.
Right, it's now Dallas trying to vie for some of this high ground, but New York's got a good amount of ult.
This is weird. Okay, never mind. He's gonna go for the flank. Alright.
New York's got
It's a very strange flank.
Yaki on a little bit of
And this requires a lot of trust in that Kellen will deliver. Or your Tracer will deliver. Right? Because if he goes for this flank, obviously Myeongbong and Gangnam Jin are not gonna be able to see him. Right? So Kellen needs to do some work.
probably sitting next to like
And also, Edison needs to never find this. Edison, which means that Flora needs to keep him company, right?
Kellen
Interesting.
players able to look at their screen real
Yeah, he
quick.
can't see what's going on from.
No, but he can see right above him though by looking at Kellen's screen and then jump.
Okay, that was almost. Wow, they even forced out the transcendence.
That's something a lot of players use that. Like,
Okay, Kellen might be dead, but then again, Chio's still in transcendence with no Discord orb on him, so I guess it's gonna be fine.
Just really fascinating to me. So there was a transcendence there. We didn't see that, but it got forced because Fielder took a ton of damage from Kellen, and then he meteor struck. So Dallas just freaked out and yeah, hit that Q key with their Zen.
Okay.
Yucky, it's a little bit
What? Who are you diving though?
tank, as you
Yeah, this is rough.
Yucky,
It's a rough dive for him.
Down and yeah, hit that Q key with their Zen.
I would have actually just kept chasing Fearless, honestly,
So Dallas
just so that you can get your ult
their Zen.
as a duplicate,
Yucky, it's a little bit low on the echo. Then there's a duplicate on
but then you're getting Edison right now.
because of the HG.
Meanwhile, Flora's just getting free push because this is the job of a tracer.
Stop. It's
And this is a very common theme on this map, regardless of which tier of Overwatch you're looking at. In scrims, that is.
maybe not angry, just like disappointed.
I've seen so many C9s because I've instructed my tracers to just keep pushing payload no matter what.
How we rate these days, Flora, but fair enough. Edison slapped
And Flora's just gonna push payload now.
Discord will make it a little bit easier. Fearless hit with a biting grenade here.
Yep, there it is. He's pushing it. Solo. No one cares. It's Edison came back. It's all ogre.
Sparkle.
Okay, it's okay.
Oh, okay, that's huge. Getting Yaki with those strikes.
Flora has done the job. He forced them out of position now.
That's a bit of a throwback.
I well, you could still try to go for castle because you did wipe the NYXL, but it is a little bit dangerous. Someone needs to be constantly looking at this payload now because it's so close.
Floor just keeps going like underneath the castle.
So Dallas Fuel, you have the high ground.
He's probably thinking in his head like, oh well, they would.
You kind of want. Do you want your Winston to be down here, blocking the choke? Not really. There's so much burst, so probably not. You're just waiting. You're just waiting again for the rotation to happen for the supports as Fearless.
That's how you innovate. Alright. Entrepreneurship in game aside.
Ideally, before they get position like this on the side of the NYXL, they already have position. By the way, they successfully did the rotation. I don't even know how the fuck this is possible. They can literally see where they're rotating from that high ground, and they're not taking advantage of it.
How you innovate.
I don't know why.
Chip in game aside.
Like at this point, it's already too late to dive him.
Great to have that Discord orb applied by Gun.
Chio is, or rather, Gangnam Jin is in a position where he cannot be dove.
As soon as New York sees that, they just try and
Yeah.
they just call
I-
right on these supports. Is
Yeah, Dallas Fuel are just super slow on the trigger,
Too close to the ground, dueling.
and Fearless is the lone survivor.
Okay,
gonna try and like jump over the top, maybe meet with the transcendence.
Hey, he just needs to survive right now. There we go. He survived.
He just tries to stay out of line of sight for as long as possible. And here's the Tracer, so he has some support here and a Transcendence for Chio, but he doesn't even need that. This is
Okay, for God's sake, someone dive the backline right now.
If they don't win this fight, it could get a little bit
I don't think this will work.
there from Yombong. Long range, but Kellen's also hit
Like, dude, literally their backline was so free.
dicey. Goodbye to Dallas.
You have Chio with the Transcendence. Your team is gonna be fine. You don't need to peel for him.
Kellen's also hit with one. The laner Transcendence.
Well, I guess they're also accounting for Gangnam Jin having that trans, so that's probably why they're not just diving. Okay. That makes a little bit more sense in this case.
Trying to break it up a little bit.
But earlier they needed to friggin' dive and prevent that rotation.
Gangnam Jin has just been.
Yeah, this is rough.
I love this backline from New York right now. I mean, Gangnam Jin is.
It's very imperative as the Dallas Fuel to prevent any form of rotations from the NYXL. At least clean rotations, because the moment that they are able to surround you like this, you're fucked. There's no way. There's no way that you win.
Free picks, it's free kills, man.
in on the primal right over on the
Wow, Chio survived. Okay.
moving almost above his
I was expecting him to walk or float on top of the stickies.
survivability.
Guess not.
So, Gangnam Jin is 11 final blows, 7 deaths.
Okay, I don't mind this from the NYXL. Just holding here, not completely committing, because the Dallas Fuel are already here. They can't really take much more space. So it's understandable if they just hanging out over these areas rather than pushing all the way through, which would have been possible on the attack of the Dallas Fuel. But anyway,
So, Gangnam Jin is 11 final blows, 7 deaths to Chio's 3 and 11.
Check this out though. I mean, New York, they have the duplicate.
Winton jump, Winton jab,
They are actually
zap,
able to save
jab,
their
what?
nano boost in that fight, which is massive, and they'll open up this one with Kellen getting it. They are actually able to save on
Okay,
the
let's
nano
also look at how... See that shit? Look. Whenever Kellen, at least on this map, on the previous map they didn't do this at all. But whenever Kellen goes in, everybody goes in. Flores in there, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, this man just used 2 blinks. The only thing that's missing is Yaki literally just flying over there in front of everybody on the Dallas Fuel. No fucks given. Focusing on the exact same target as Kellen.
massive, and they'll open up this one with Kellen getting it.
And I suppose the reason why he didn't go for it was he's trying to go for a peel.
To keep their backline alive,
I don't really agree with that. I think
nice little touch from
he just commit to this.
very frightening.
Wipe them out faster than they can wipe you out.
That was a lapse there for a moment. Going to be able to move up.
Dallas
here as
should be able to
opposed
get out
Florida.
and contest though.
But then again, it is a Doom mirror, so maybe some defensive tactics would help.
Biding his time, he is trying to stay out of line of sight because Gangnam Jin is a lethal weapon right now. Takes some stones to step up to his head like that right now, but Kellen gets surrounded by Dallas. Everybody turns their heads towards the Doom Fist. And look at how
Oh, they're able to defend this. How?
biding his time, he is trying to stay
Okay.
out of line of sight because Gangnam Jin is a lethal weapon right now.
Pulse bomb
To
misses.
step up to his head like
Oh, so they were able to sleep Kellen and then focus him down. So there's no more spear.
look at how
There's no more spear tip for the NYXL to basically hide behind and follow up on. Then Yaki dies.
now. Dallas can bring
Yeah.
live relief and New York have lost their most key component still though. Is the backline doing well?
And then Gangnam Jin
Gangnam Jin
almost turns things around.
Chio's able to at least respond, but
Flora and Fielder are still here, or Myeongbong is still here.
down the tracer.
Yes,
I don't think this is winnable though. I think you just need to back off.
some of these players that come off of spawn
Yeah,
for New York. You don't want to just keep.
I was about to say. Okay, you need to be careful, Kellen. You have no follow-up whenever you die.
I think at that point you look at these Anas.
At least not yet.
A sick biotic grenade, right? The area that they're going to end up fighting in is so close together.
Okay.
So close together.
They need to get rid of their Doomfists.
Teams with transcendence.
Or at the very least, prevent anyone from dying to the engage of either Doomfist.
Could be nice. For the Doom, Sparkle generally preferring to have an extra Doom in play. 39 seconds time ticking. New York allowing that to lapse a little bit.
What? Wait a minute.
Sparkle
Okay, I can understand.
have an extra Doom in
I can kind of understand if there's a Tracer on the flank, right? Because this is where a Tracer should be flanking. In fact, this is probably the only place a Tracer can flank.
It's time ticking.
But how the fuck did Gangnam Jin... How? Did he rotate inside? But even then, if he rotated inside... Shouldn't there have been a jump from the Dallas Fuel? Because he would have been out in the open. At least for a little bit.
New York allowing that to lapse.
Bruh.
They're looking to pressure
Edison's gonna lose this fight. Pretty sure.
That Zen is so scary. Alright, Transcendence playing
Okay, the Transcendence it as well.
Chio also opts to use his, but he can't keep Sparkle alive. Man, they've lost
Yeah!
bad for Dallas. Real bad.
Bruh.
Kellen goes in with another size of
That...
Chio gets so
No.
Sparkle's gonna do
That shouldn't have been possible from the NYXL.
That's gonna be New York.
Okay, someone told me that this was a reverse sweep. It's not a reverse sweep, it's a 1-1.
They had a punish chance in the first map as well. This could be a series where New York found
They're trading.
2-0, but yeah, they've looked good here today.
Oh, we're gonna get Circuit?
Now we
I
got
like it.
Fielder on the Zen Let's see Fielder on Zenyatta versus Chio, and then Guerrero.
Kind of like it.
So we've seen this before in the past, and
It's not very common that we see this map at all.
I think it's one of the only real criticisms people had of Fielder.
Doesn't seem like anyone likes it. They prefer...
You know, up to scratch, but he's
What do they prefer? King's Row? Right? I think it's King's Row that they prefer on this one. Or is it, No, it's Gibraltar. Sorry. This is just pure payload. So it's actually Gib that most people prefer on this one. Instead of Circuit.
I know my art style would lead you to believe
So they Sonic the left side just so that they can check for tracers. And then to discuss the comps, typical, right? You have a Sigma because you have a Widowmaker. They're also probably expecting another Widowmaker, so I don't think they pick maps and quals. Oh, okay. I mean, Widowmaker by herself on this map is pretty good. But the Hanbin pick of Sigma tells me that they're also expecting an enemy Widowmaker. Because Sigma's pretty good against that. And then Sparkle on Genji, because Sparkle is pretty good on Genji anyway. And also to take out the enemy Widowmaker, right? Just in case. If there isn't any, then... I mean, you're just spamming and then just trying to follow up on whatever misses that Grio has or does. Then this is just so that they can brawl, right? Because it's very difficult to brawl against... It's already difficult to take down a Sigma, and then it's doubly difficult to take down a Sigma and the Brig combination. So that's the idea of the Dallas Fuel comp. You win by Grio basically clicking hits, and then the rest of the team following up. So there's not really a lot of pressure on Hanbin to do things. At least not versus the NYXL composition, which is their Doomfist dive. I'm guessing Yaki will switch to Echo or Genji. Genji. Because it's a little bit easier to take down the Widowmaker with this. Flora is probably gonna have a very hard time though, because what do you do? Oh wait, you can climb all the way as Genji as over there? Okay. Yeah, this is difficult to dive. It's so difficult to dive. I mean, even the Tracer alone is gonna have a difficult time. I can't imagine that Genji's gonna be having an easy time with this as well. I think you need to mirror or go for Brawl, right? So mirror the comp that they have, or Brawl. Those are your two options. Dive is super difficult against this. It's just so difficult. But they're gonna try until you die. So if you're gonna stick with dive, how do you engage? I guess all you need to, or I say all you need to do, but what you really need to do is take out this Sigma as fast as possible, right? That's one option. The other option is prevent this Widowmaker from getting any value. So one way to do that is to have both of your divers go up and engage backline. Flora is not incentivized right now to push payload, just because the Sigma is almost always there. There you go. This is the game plan in effect. Although they did not survive. They did not survive it. And yeah, like the Sigma doesn't give a shit too much about the backline. They should be fine with just the Brig. And that's why they were able to force out the Tracer from pushing payload. Oh, okay. Plan B of the game plan is in effect. And that you just pulse bomb or just hard focus the Sigma and hope for the best. It's working right now. They have no tank.
Here gives himself
They have no staying power.
escape a bit easier, and then also those rail shots.
Gurion now on what do you call this? On Sojourn. And this tells me that he wants to be able to do a lot more, and he's not going to be able to do that if they're going to try that rotation again with Yaki and Kellen. So he goes for the Sojourn, so it's a little bit more difficult to dive. Dive. And you can still snipe people. It's a little bit harder. You don't have a scope anymore. And you have to charge the snipe. But you can still do it. So you're performing almost the exact same function, but you're a lot more difficult to get rid of. So now it actually just falls on taking out Hanbin ASAP, which is a very difficult task. I think the first time that they were able to do it is because they had Pulse Bomb and Discord and all of that. And they were also, what do you call this, able to force out the suck from Sigma. So there's also that. So myriad of things had to go right for the NYXL for the very first push, the very first fight win to work. Now Floor is switching tactics. Instead of trying to push payload, which is again going to be impossible because Hanbin is almost always watching it, Floor is just trying to go for an assassination on either Sparkle or Fielder, or at the very least just distract, right? Just a distraction. So that they can easily isolate Hanbin. I don't know if it's gonna work. I have not watched this live. This is the first time I've ever watched this. Could also pressure Sparkle. But, yeah. Like, Sparkle is A-okay with this. Even with a combination of the Transcendence and the Blade, like, there's zero confidence on Yaki and just taking on this off. Because it's almost impossible. Not to mention that there was also a Brig rally, but, you know. I don't think the rally would have helped, or would have dissuaded, or the lack of rally, rather, would have dissuaded the Yaki Blade. The Yaki would still not go for that. Yeah, this is rough. But I guess it's still possible to call it a reverse sweep if they almost, what do you call this, 5-0 you, or 5-2, not 5-0, 2-3 you, right? Because it's possible that the Dallas Fuel just through the next two maps, or almost through the next two maps. Guys, payload, payload, payload! For God's sakes, go back to the payload! Oh my fucking god, why did they chase that? Okay. So, Gurio dies because Gangnam Jin just snipes him. Yeah. Yaki gets Chio. They have no heals. Except for Fielder. Fielder's still alive. Never mind. Did Fielder not have this? No, he didn't. That's why he didn't use it yet. And then because Gurio used his slide to get back to the team, that's why Yaki was a little bit more confident. Combined with, I think, no, there's no, what do you call this? There's no, I don't think there was a debuff on him. The orb? Yeah, the orb was not on him. It was on Chio the entire time. It was transferred to Feeler, but yeah. Okay, so how would you play that differently? Yeah, I think you don't slide. I think you just walk. Just keep walking. As Gurio. Yeah, there's just some key kills. And there's also no, yeah, there's basically no damage left on the NYXL. And then Fielder built his Transcendence too late to save anyone else. I don't know why they chased, though. This is another mystery for me. Why chase that? Fielder's out of position. It's an easy kill for Yaki. Then Hanbin's alone. Ah, it's all ogre. It's all falling apart again.
So now the question is, like, what is the point when Fielder transcendencing there for him and Hanbin? I guess they think that they can win with the two of them, but it's not easy against the
Man.
And Yaki was alone there for a period of time. I believe maybe one of
I mean,
was up as well for a bit, but
I guess they needed to play that perfectly, so maybe I'm just nitpicking at this point. But yeah, I think that was winnable from him.
get a hold there, and Yaki comes through with some just like hero moments, and able to
From the Dallas Fuel, I mean.
moving uphill. This could be a completely different game than we expected.
Oh no. Oh no, they don't have, what do you call this? They don't have Transcendence, but that's okay.
Sparkle pulled heal his
They
as
both
well.
pull the blade and just stare at each other at a distance.
I mean, it is very menacing. Half of JoJo
Ooh, forces out the Transcendence. And Myeongbong gets left behind. All that Dallas Fuel need to do is survive this Transcendence and then group up and then follow up.
surprise. Yeah,
Okay, they sort of kind of do that.
it takes that one. That one takes a lot of explaining.
Right, it's like food wars.
Okay, I can kind of see how maybe people see Yaki
I have never watched any
carrying this team on his back
just talk about all of them.
somewhat,
Pretty much named
because he is getting some last-minute kills, but I don't think it changes much.
Because he has good taste.
He's still struggling against this comp.
Well, yeah, kinetic grass there from Hanbin, so he denies the follow-up. Okay, you got transcendence.
Alright, that's worth. Okay, never mind. Yaki is actually carrying right now. Never mind. Fuck that. Fuck whatever I just said. How the hell is this burst damage happening to the backline of the Dallas Fuel? Both of them are just taking so much damage. All of a sudden, then just 2 kills. Did they just stack up? Why? Why were they stacked? The only way that this kill feed is gonna happen is because they were stacked together. Which, by the way, you're not supposed to do, even when you're being dove. At least I don't think you're supposed to, because it's an easy pick.
for this. Yeah.
Ah, bruh, dude. Oh my god, Yaki's actually popping off now. Holy shit. I understand completely.
We've seen some fights.
I understand now. Yaki is actually unironically carrying his team. But it's mostly also the Dallas Fuel positioning very poorly. At least I assume so, because both of their supports just died to a solo Genji. Yaki heard you talking shit. Yeah, he did. I will shut up now. Oh no, he got slept. Holy fuck, he's still going. He is still going.
We'll see what happens. 30 seconds left in the round here. What can be done by Hanmin? Very little.
I think he stops here. Never mind, he doesn't. He's still going. With Flora. Holy moly. That was actually very clutch from him. Alright. Flora is now on payload duty. Alright, here we go. We get to see. Holy shit, they are fucking stacked. And it was with the help of Kellen. That's why the burst actually spread to both of them. But the number one thing here is that you're not supposed to do this as you're in this comp. You're supposed to spread out, right? You need to split up.
Big plays as we take a look from his perspective here. Yeah.
Ah,
I mean, that's a nice play. This is happening as the gravitic flux
man, why is
on the other side. Ooh, that is
they're in such a winning position, right? The Dallas Fuel are in such winning positions, but somehow, some way, they just
right. One of the stronger teams
can't
in the
cut
league.
the mustard
And you just see the
when you need them to.
theoretically could hit.
I don't know if I have them in top 3 for the mid-season madness. I'll be honest.
Okay. So, as Dallas Fuel, how do you win against this? Fielder's now on a BAP. Again, this is, I guess, anti-dive because it's tough to dive, and that's it. That's the only reason why I would see Fielder switching to this. But yeah, they're in trouble right now. The Dallas Fuel, they need to play super defensive because the NYXL has every ult that they ever want, minus Flora. But Flora is on payload duty, so who cares? Oh no. Where's Chio? For God's sakes, where the fuck is Chio right now? Oh my fucking god. Okay, so I can understand if the BAP is still here. Where's the Zen get a position, actually? Yeah, actually, now that I think about it. How do you position a Zen without grouping up with Fielder? But then again, the thing is, unlike an Ana, right? Fielder has Immortality Field and Amp, right? Amp and Lamp is what I call it. So you're actually incentivized to keep together as supports with this one. So Chio actually needs to be up here, somewhere in the pool area. Unironically. And he is AWOL right now. I guess the other argument for Chio not using his ult and not being in that position is to save it for this final fight. Right? He's saving it for this. Right here. Because he thinks that there's going to be another fight. And that's going to be true for as long as Sparkle is able to survive and Chio is able to survive. Okay. He uses it prematurely. This fight is pretty much over. Holy fuck. Yeah, it's over. There's no way they win. Hanbin could get his ult right now and it still won't be enough. My god. They just fell apart. They just fell apart after that first point. Good lord. It's just a fucking straight up meltdown. Okay, wait. We skipped too far in the future. Yeah, Winton Jump. I don't know how they messed up that name that hard. Fielder initially on the Mercy. I don't know why. Switches back. Again, since the NYXL does not have a Tracer anymore, has a Widow instead, that means that it's on Yaki and on Kellen to do the diving on the backline. And if they stick together this time, it shouldn't work. And if they stick with their Sigma this time, it definitely should not work. Like, this dive is going to be incredibly rough. Again. But that's assuming that the Dallas Fuel knows how to play their own composition and how it wins. Which, I mean, at certain points, they just forget how their comp is supposed to win. For God knows what reason.
set up the next perch for your Widow to play from. Try and keep this rolling.
Okay. I mean, I like this.
This is gonna be a tough
Holding forward,
play this
baiting the Sigma.
like how are you
The
accessing this backline of
the Widowmaker is still free shooting.
as soon as he jumps around the corner and gets hit with the
No harassment on her.
straight away. So not
The NYXL. You need to find a way to shut down Gurio. And then keep Flora alive somehow.
here.
And with this comp, I don't think it's viable to just target Hanbin anymore. Yeah.
He's been spotted most hyperspheres.
It's really difficult. Oh well.
I understand though, he probably gets caught there. He's worried about the Widow.
I mean,
Respect for Guri.
Yaki is trying.
And you know, like, I'm not gonna. Look, I refuse to be
Yaki is trying to
is that everyone gets so annoyed when they
kill this Widowmaker and shut her down, but
teams that
no avail.
trying to buck the trend when they can in this series here. Yeah, it doesn't look great at times like this, but I will allow it. And it's easy.
Sigma is also pretty good against this Widowmaker, so I don't think you stay.
It's gonna be really tough to make work in this type of
I don't think you stay as Widow.
map and just kind of like geometry.
Flora is cracked, yes, but right now he's getting shut down. Never mind, he's no longer getting shut down, mostly because Kellen is giving him space. Kellen dies for it though.
Yeah, I mean the power block,
Zero follow-up.
you have, like, the accretion, you have
I don't blame him.
forward, it's
I don't blame Yaki because, well,
Matrix used here.
you're diving into this comp that's very difficult to dive in the first place.
Definitely gives you some free push here, which means that Gurio has more space.
Oh,
As that card gets up the hill.
Meteor Strike, really?
Here, so yeah,
They're committing to this. Why though?
Immortality Field gonna be deployed by Fielder.
And they also used Nano Boost, right? They used Nano Boost. And got no kills for it. So,
Trying to sort of pressure
in the same way that the Dallas Fuel was throwing in the first round, now the NYXL are throwing.
doesn't have transcendence yet. He would hope to build it in midair, but it's not enough damage from Dallas.
Gangnam Jin just survives by the skin of his teeth.
Good cover where they don't really even have to like worry about them coming into the back.
Wait. How did they survive though?
Statically. Where does his flux go?
I mean, Sparkle was there.
Doesn't have transcendence.
He was dueling with Yaki. I guess he was afraid of breaking line of sight. But then, I can argue that this ult effectively split the Dallas, or not the Dallas Fuel, the NYXL. So, you might be able to get this kill.
Yeah, he would hope to build it in midair, but it's not enough damage from Dallas to actually punish
Maybe he was also expecting a Transcendence, because Gangnam Jim is quite close.
And he's got good
No.
cover where they don't really even have
Oh
to
well.
worry
I think that ult would have been more effective, but
putting pressure on him. So
they're playing it safe.
from Flora, this is gonna pick up
And then they're playing it extra safe because
Network needs this defense here. They need to
Widowmaker ult.
burn some clock. There's a good time for Dallas in that first checkpoint.
I'm curious as to how Gurio isn't able to just shoot Gangnam Jin when he's held up in the air. I think there might be pressure from Yaki that made that impossible.
Okay, Widow ult is over.
Feed from the Genji, that's still, you know, he's still doing
Yaki is permanently discorded.
sidelines.
Then Kellen. Okay, there we go. Alright. That's a bad engage. Again, zero follow-up. And I honestly don't think Flora staying on this is helping that much.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I think Gurio is
Yeah, he got some key kills at some point, but yeah, Tracer I think is a lot more useful.
also
Even against this, just because, even against like Sigma, that is, just because you've got more follow-up
if you're gonna come in
with Kellen.
your specialist, you have to be
Yeah, I mean, it's still difficult,
that hero
because you're up against Sig, and then you've got this support line
play that
backing him up.
So we'll see
But,
both teams
hey,
match with the
maybe you get lucky.
Uh, Tracer Genji
I mean,
with
they're-
Sigma. It's a little interesting.
We back?
But I still think the Doomfist is
Oh,
really
it actually disconnected for a little bit? Sorry about that.
fun on this map, man.
I didn't notice. It was still playing on the stream was still playing for me.
Up with Yaki is going to be absolutely critical in the next few moments. Also, Flora can lend a hand now, switching.
Didn't disconnect.
In this phase of the map, Widow's just. There's too many twisting corners. Widow doesn't get great vantage at any stage.
Yeah.
Dallas headed around our side here.
Wait, what?
At any stage.
So this is correct. They're supposed to rotate like this and push them up there,
Widow's just.
especially since they have a Sigma.
Get great vantage at any stage.
Yeah.
But what I don't agree with is Gurio coming with them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Cactus. I've not disconnected for the entire time. Bro, every time I type, I'll just shut up. What's happening? Nothing's happening to my stream, by the way. I think it's still playing. I can still see it moving and shit, but I'm not sure what's happening with your end. I think it's an issue with your connection. But yeah, going back, I think Gurio is not supposed to be up here. I think Gurio is supposed to be pushing payload. But the rest of the Dallas Fuel going up here is correct, I would say. Just force them off of the high ground. There we go. Gurio drops down. I guess he was expecting the brawl to happen over here, but I mean, the NYXL I don't think will do that. It's fine, I think. Just a pause and then catch up. Alright. That's weird. Oh, what? Why would you do this? Well, you get Kellen, so I guess it's worth. But you use both of your ults, though. Sparkle just dies to Gangnam Jin again. Wait, what? How does he die to Gangnam Jin? So, Gurio's on point. He's kind of sort of dueling with Yaki. And then Gangnam Jin just get a snipe. Okay. No, he was actually on. No, he's not on point. Never mind. I thought he was on point. Okay. For God's sakes, the Dallas Fuel should win this. Someone needs to push payload though. For God's sakes, Gurio, go back to the payload. Oh no, Yaki. They're respawning. They're getting back. This is a little over. Can't remember which fight, but try to pay attention where Gang is. I mean, Gangnam Jin has been doing that since Icon Vault Gold. Like, somehow this motherfucker actually manages to rotate with his Tracer to go 2v1 versus Edison on the side of the third point of Icon Vault, which is egregious. Egregious.
All over the map. I think that's what New York would obviously, want in terms of these fights.
Okay, I lagged a little bit there. I don't know if that's something that happens on stream, but whatever. We're just gonna keep going. Also, why are these guys not with their SIG? Bruh. Bruh. Okay, Gurio going with this is fine, because again, he's trying to look for an assassination. That is not the assassination that they needed. It's not about the value, it's about sending the message. I suppose so. Oh, Gangnam Jin is over there now. He is unironically behind the Dallas Fuel. This is not gonna be pleasant because there's a literal Zen behind your team who is permanently discording you, and you're not doing anything about him. I can understand if this was a Roadhog or some shit, and it's a 5v5, like, or it's Overwatch 2. Like, sure, you can leave that Roadhog, but if Gangnam Jin is literally here, and all of you are here, and you have a Tracer and a Genji, please, for the love of God, someone send players to this guy and kill him now. Fuck's sake. So, Sparkle is permanently discorded because Gangnam Jin is not gonna let him go. Yep, there he is. He goes for that blade. Actually, the bigger issue is that Hanbin is also permanently discorded. I wouldn't be surprised if some of that damage actually came from Gangnam Jin from afar. It's only now that Hanbin turns around, tries to kill him, he gets killed by Gangnam Jin, and somehow, someway, by the skin of their teeth, because the Dallas Fuel are choking. The NYXL hold on. In a fight that I think the Dallas Fuel should have won, like 2 fights ago. Okay, so now they have a diva. What is the point of this diva? I mean, this is single target burst, so you got burst. It's very tanky against in a 1v1 anyway. So I guess this is just their plan to kill Gangnam Jin, maybe, and maybe eat the nades from Myeongbang. But from what I can tell, Myeongbang is not really that much of an issue. The nades are not really landing from him, so it's not the nades. I guess this is just Operation Dive Gangnam Jin. Genji and Fat Genji, yeah. It's Yaki versus Sparkle. And Sparkle is basically the emaciated Genji. Severely emaciated Genji. Okay, now I'm really confused. You can literally see Gangnam Jin across the way. Why are you all focusing on Kellen right now, who almost has his ult? Oh my fucking god. And of course, Flora is gonna get a pick on Grio. Oh my god. It makes no sense, bro. It literally doesn't. And of course, they're gonna stagger this baby diva. So they had something like a 2 to 3 minute time bank for this one. It's now down to 14 seconds. Christ, Jesus, the meltdown. Oh my god. Dude, if I was as part of the coaching staff for the Dallas Fuel, I would have a fucking aneurysm right now. That aneurysm would pop just watching this game. It's probably even worse because they actually have a good perspective on what's happening. This is so rough. That was such a rough game for the Dallas Fuel. Oh no. So it's now 2-1. How did the NYXL fuck up this one though?
It's just a bad look, especially with how good Sigma is on that map. Especially at the start on defense. It just puts Kellen in a really difficult spot. And you start to saw like as
how do you mess this up, NYXL? Okay, so we already are past that, I guess. Okay, so they have ball. They have ball. Wow, okay, so they, instead of a Winston, they have a ball. So what's the difference? You don't have as much staying power, right? There's no staying power for your dive. Because the ball's job is to just roll in, roll out. And then Fielder is not really going to be healing anybody except for maybe Edison and Chio. Maybe the Tracer's going to be in front of him, sure. And at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and say that Fielder's job is to just dive with the team. So you have another diving DPS that isn't a Lucio. Yeah. So this is an even harder dive. It's a harder dive. Gachi base. Than a Winston. Because technically speaking, Edison can dive with them. Like, zero fear, just slide, boom, into disruptor shot, wherever the enemy team is gonna try and escape. And then it also combos nicely. Disruptor shot combos nicely with Fearless's slam. So yeah, that's the plan for the Dallas Fuel. Be incredibly fast. And everybody is basically a DPS. And I guess the other way, the counterplay is for the Dallas Fuel anyway, since they're anticipating yet another dive comp from the New York Excelsior, because that's the only thing that they've been doing throughout the entire series, is that they have no diveable backline. Right? There's no diveable backline here. Moira just fades away. Lucio, you can't really dive a Lucio. Edison will just slide away. And Sparkle, well, Sparkle's on Tracer. And good luck trying to catch Fearless. So that's that. And for the New York Excelsior, how do you win? You need to force out ball very, very quickly. And if possible, you need to take out the ball before as he's rolling in. Right? You need to take out the ball. I mean, apart from that, it's just the standard dive right now for the Overwatch League with the Doomfist. I would still prefer an Echo rather than a Genji. But again, they have Yaki just proved that Genji's really good. His Genji's really good. So, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Means you must be playing compact, but you also can't play slow.
So I guess the alternative win condition, since there's nothing to dive for the New York Excelsior, is to survive this dive and kill the ball. Or kill someone from the dive. Which is very difficult to do. Again. But somehow I sense that Dallas Fuel might make it easy for them to do. I don't know. We're about to find out. Fearless, I would rather you have positioning right now or scout. Right? Tracer is already pushing the bot. I think the ball needs to explore the map and try to scout where the NYXL are going to engage from. Or at the very least set up. There we go. Just doing it right now.
Give a little bit of ground and maybe just be concerned about the flank potential from Dallas, just because of how quickly they can reposition. No two same supports right now on the map, and Dallas definitely have the mobility down.
Yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to position against this as the NYXL though. Do you stay together? But if you stay together, that kind of feeds into the ball slamming in, and then Edison getting a really good disruptor shot. Also, I just realized that disruptor shot, the way that the disruptor shot from Sojourn works is kind of like the disruptor shot from StarCraft 2's, I forgot the unit name, but it's a Protoss unit. The ability is almost the exact same. It's just a large explosion in a small area that damages quite a bit. It's not damage over time though, but it is fairly similar in effect. The rest of it. But anyway, back to the game. So wait, how did they lose that? Wait. I wasn't focusing. They somehow got a kill on Fielder. But before that, Sparkle just gets roasted by Flora. Yaki is having a difficult time against Moira. Understandable. Oh, and they kill the ball. They kill the Tracer, they kill the ball. Alright. I don't know if it was worth pulse bombing the Moira though. I think it's worth pulse bombing the ball though.
I actually look at Flora in this type of setup. I think Flora on the Tracer can do way more damage here against this type of comp than Yaki on the Genji.
Flora finds a pulse bomb kill on
I think you need to bait engage from the Dallas Fuel and then go for the counter engage, because all of them are going to be in whatever kill box that they're going to be for the Dallas Fuel. So you just wait for that as the NYXL. And counterattack,
Get the lead
I
here.
guess.
Expect a lot of scrappy engagements, everybody. Great stick though.
It's really confusing on this map, especially since
Pulse bomb.
there's just so many flanks.
Found pull a blade.
I don't really know exactly how
Getting 2 kills for that. Maybe what they
you're supposed to deal with this comp,
Yeah, just what Yaki is. He's
but I just know that
15 HP up the high ground
the
here.
game plan of the NYXL is not very easy
so sad.
against this.
Oh, okay, gets the mini, but he lost Kellen there as well. So that again, that tempo loss from the Genji kind of hurts New York there. Losing your backline, that's why target focus is so important.
Yeah, I think it was actually Fearless who ended up taking that health pack. So, this is going to be a crucial fight.
I mean, they're kind of forcing out the ball,
Things
which is a good start. There's no engage from them.
overclock though can be the difference maker.
They're now reliant on the Tracer or the Sojourn to get an entry frag, which is like that.
Oh, Myunbong, that's dirty, son.
That's sleek though.
See that good finish off. Fielder gonna pop
The beat just came in too late.
in that location as Myunbong's forehead. Dallas will end up winning out on this fight, looking to equalize here. I warned you about scrappiness, chat. Here it is.
Still won the fight though.
New York starting to get maybe a little bit over aggressive. Right?
Couldn't save one guy from your team, but at the very least, you still won the fight. So, worth.
Edison goes over to Sombra.
Sorry about that, Edison. Oh, this is gonna be huge. Never mind. There's a Transcendence.
Clears out that minefield, or at least whichever the mines needed to be cleared as they could advance. Kellen hacked here, Brentford, like you mentioned, the Sombra switch over from Edison to try and put extra pressure down on. Honestly, it could be anyone. Yaki would also hate.
I'm not sure about the Edison swap though.
And you said
Why Sombra?
Florida beer.
For the Doomfist? I guess.
Being pursued by Sparkle as the bot gets
Yeah, he's just hacking the Doomfist.
tries to duel, don't forget
That's it. That's basically it.
back out of this one for a time though.
Yeah, as you see, they lose Yaki in the feed, and that time it's the fielder on the Moira that assists from Chio. So you see just way harder, yeah, for the Genji to get in, make a play for the backline, especially
Oh.
that Moira Lucio where.
Would have wanted Fearless to die though.
But,
I think he needed to keep chasing that Fearless on ball.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He'll have another pulse bomb.
But Flora switch targets. They're still winning, so.
pick could be huge here, Mitch, too.
I mean, part of it is having this ball not having a clean engage, right?
Inside.
And you can do that by poking him or just
Right, because
downright killing him
bot is going to be fought over here.
before
Health pack is
the actual engage starts.
kind of like to the right of where Myungbong is, right? Where he's kind of heading down there now, where we saw Yaki try and fight over it before.
But I would love this Tracer to actually just focus this ball constantly.
Ends up being Kellen gets hacked at the start of the fight. Call listen.
Alright. Oh my god, that stick. What?
That is gonna hurt the Dallas Fuel.
Oh no.
Still alive. Oh, it's all gone wrong.
Oh no.
That could be the turning point.
And just like that, if the stats are to be believed, the first team to get to the first checkpoint has a 70%
Sound barrier available, but you're gonna
chance to win the map.
on the other side. Then Yaki's got that blade. You know, the blade.
So, in short, since the Dallas Fuel still won this, I think they won the series, right?
Blade there by the MP.
I can't remember. Oh shit, it's an ad. Oh no. It's all ogre, boys. Okay, there we go. Ad is over.
A lot of respect for what Yaki can do if he's allowed to run and roam unchecked. Fearless working up there from that slick dart that came in.
Oh no, he got woken up.
Was hacked there, and you saw Dallas piling on that kill. Look at the respect. No one wants to get close to this Zenyatta these days. Fearless stands back and lets the miniguns go to work.
Maybe you would have liked to see them.
Laura dead. Alright.
But felt like they had an opportunity to maybe even turn in that fight.
Okay, so this bomb or this minefield from Fearless is gonna be big, assuming that he can catch him.
The contest that comes through, so that's big, you know, right? If you get Kellen or Flora to stop it for a second or two, allow everybody to group up together here and get another fight.
Okay. Well, they're playing kind of split though. This is rough. Okay, he doesn't need to use it anymore. That's a good assassination from Sparkle.
Those able just to walk up to Myunbong and drop off the pulse bomb. Field is down. There's no backline here for New York, but Dallas have lost their.
Oh, Sparkle is low. Oh god, this is closer now.
Yaki's still firing all cylinders, and Sparkle's
I don't mind using the mines right now,
lack of support means
just to secure the point, the area around the point anyway.
How much healing has gone to that Moira?
Yeah, you needed to use that.
They're now fielder
Damn it. Fearless, please. Okay. Okay, that was bad. He didn't get CC'd into the corner. He needs to find altitude. Oh no, this is not gonna work, man. It's really risky proposition. You don't chase a tracer as a ball. More often than not, it's gonna be bad for you. Okay, minefield is used, but it's used way, way far away. Yeah, I think this minefield should have been used much earlier. And the Dallas Fuel have yet to actually get to that checkpoint, so this is pretty bad. They still have 2 minutes though. Although, my opinion of this kind of map, I forget what it's called, push, right? Yeah, it's called push. My opinion is that I think the timer is too long. It gets kind of boring to watch because it's just back and forth, over and over and over again. It's high chaos. It's fun for the players, but this already got old. Like, this already feels like forever. So, counterintuitively, despite what they did to the recent beta, I think they need to shorten push times instead of lengthening them so that people can get to the end. Or what they can do is make the bot push faster. Keep the time, make the bot push faster. If the complaint of people is that they can't really push all the way to the end, right? Make the bot push faster. Fearless is now on the Winston. Why though? Why the Winston? I guess this complements their comp a little bit better than the ball. I'd rather have someone who can stay into the fight than someone who just rolls away. At least with this one. That's also it's very awkward, the Moira. It's a good primal. Split everyone up and then just devolve to 1v1v1v1. Oh no, both teams have reached the first checkpoint. That means that it's now a 50-50. And who wins or who loses the map. At least on dispatch. Kellen is already engaging. I mean, the rest of the DPS are there, so it's fine. That's a big EMP though. I mean, granted, Yaki actually carried them on, what do you call this? On Circuit. I will agree to that, but Gangnam Jin has been carrying them throughout every single map. So I would actually praise Gangnam Jin more for what he's doing, at least against whatever strategy or lack thereof from the Dallas Fuel. But yeah, I think Yaki, pretty good, but Gangnam Jin doing a lot more for his team right now. Overall. At least that's my assessment. So we move to Lijiang Tower. Final map. It's now 2-2. Let's see. Doomfist Dive versus this again. I guess this is just the reaction from Dallas Fuel, right? They're just expecting this kind of composition every single time. So by removing the backline dive, it becomes more awkward for the NYXL. Though I'm not too keen on the ball. I think a Winston would have been better. But whatever. I mean, it is Fearless. I think Fearless is a good ball player. It's just that there's just some level of,
You can't exactly dive in to that
how do you call
back like
this?
Doom who
There's
decided
just a level of like mismatch. I don't know how to describe it between this Moira and the rest of their comp. Because yeah, you can dive, but it's really hard for the Moira to sustain everybody. So you're just left as a DPS almost.
climbing back into you. And
Which is weird.
reality field with a brig there. It's just
Whereas if you're a Winston, then
really risky.
your team typically coalesces eventually. There we go. We have a Winston now. Coalesces,
The problem still remains.
no pun intended, coalesces with the Winston and his bubble. They fight in it
Maneuvering your opponents and getting into the back.
because it's a lot harder to break in this game.
The mortality field, right? Fight goes longer. Fielder runs out of juice.
There you go. It's a little bit better. The Winston dies. Never mind. Everybody is dying on the side of the Dallas Fuel because their game plan hasn't changed really that much. Fielder is still diving with them.
Opponents and getting into the back line like so, but if you don't do that, you run into the
He's using a cooldown to dive with them.
fielder runs out of juice.
Fielder's out of juice, and then Fielder also out of cooldowns,
Part of that reason.
making him a very easy kill. And on the side of the NYXL, how are they doing this? They're just kiting it.
Just something that works.
They're honestly just kiting this engage and then re-engaging after.
Kind of why I just picked New York here.
Like if we go back,
Problem still remains though, right? I mean,
so they swap to this comp.
wanna find a first pick early, right? By just
Doomfist is now there.
opponents and getting into the back line like so, but if you don't
The jump goes in,
the mortality
but then the counter engage is immediately there.
out of juice. When you don't have the healing to keep up, fielder
Yeah.
eventually gets brought down again. Throughput might be part of that reason.
Also, the NYXL are running a fairly difficult backline again to dive, just like on what I call this, an Oasis. So the moment that they can force or they can group up as NYXL and fight together as a clump, despite this being fairly divey,
Kind of why I just
right?
picked New York here.
They're
in this fight.
they're very difficult to kill
Like what Reinhardt like made
as individuals and as a unit.
against Doomfist-centric stuff, and it doesn't seem like Dallas wants to opt to something
So yeah.
like that. And
The only person who's gonna be flanking right now is gonna be Flora, but even Flora will go back to his team
New York's been able to
because his job is to just pincer, right? It's just unlucky in that one that he got caught out,
come out.
and there's just not. Yeah, he needed a much more aggressive engage from his team to survive this. But yeah, Yaki's just pure like pincering the Dallas Fuel into his team, while his team is going to go like that.
I wonder why Flora doesn't just wait for a coalescence.
Go forward. It's just that they didn't go far enough forward,
Maybe saw a
even with the rally.
go for it here.
And now they're gonna get punished for it.
Gone down, Sparkle just popping off. New York obviously have a pretty
Yeah, I think that was too soon.
coming into this
I think they needed to bait the Dallas Fuel in a little bit more.
there and Flora.
They still had point anyway.
So they have a bit to keep this rolling here.
Yes, all New York has is this blade, but
Now, for the Dallas Fuel, since they have the point, they are incentivized to preventing this rotation from happening.
I think if you're New York,
So they need to look for a dive before Kellen can get to a good position. And most importantly, the back line of the New York Excelsior can get into a good position. Bottom line is they're just waiting for them to split up.
Okay, so Blade's used here and Soundbarrier for the Dallas Fuel.
Dallas Fuel's job right now is just wait for this team to split up and just divide and conquer.
That puts Dallas in a powerful position. And
Right.
down to 4. It looks like they prefer to regroup if they can. Flora, though, cannot get back to safety.
nah, I like that decision though. They can't let Flora just kind of like linger on that opposite side of the map, and you would have had an opportunity to be able to collapse for New York, as Dallas had always been, keeping an eye out there.
So again, same thing.
New York not able
Fearless has Primal, so this should be useful in dividing the team. And for the NYXL, I think you just wait for Myungbong's ult, honestly.
to really build up towards anything in that fight, so this one will be pretty.
No need to rush anything. You have 76%.
Primal available.
No sleep.
Okay, so there we go, divide and conquer. Yaki gets a kill on the Tracer, but that's kind of okay for as long as they trade up, and they are. Even committing the beam.
this fight, and Dallas now looking
This might hurt them in the end. I don't know.
the only good winner for New York is this next fight, but they don't have much to work with either.
Because right now there's 3 ults. There's gonna be 3 ults for the NYXL. And maybe Yaki also gets his Genji Blade.
Fearless. Getting a lot of value out of
Chill the Edison.
the first map of this series
Uh-oh.
as well. Immortality
Alright.
again just gets blown up at the start of the fight, and Dallas are happy to hang around.
This is fine. They have Rally. Never mind. Gangnam Jin just gets obliterated
Sucks that he's still crumpled.
without the armor just building up.
Feel right on New York
Oh,
forcing
baby.
to the point into a potential spawn camp.
Yeah, they win. They win. They should win.
Empowered punch from Kellen finds no purchase, and New York made the switch. They have unelusive
The only way that NYXL are gonna be able to win this is if the Dallas Fuel C9 for a little bit.
there in Dallas players as the
The NYXL gets some progress, and then
on this W for
the Dallas Fuel attention is too split.
Definitely needed to make some changes.
And then Sparkle just goes for the Genji diff.
Pushing on through is Sparkle
Oh man,
in the chat.
if he only knew. Up, too far in the future.
The last time is
you guys are no fun.
Sparkle with some dash resets there. So
Again, same comps. I don't think this is gonna go well for
against this wrecking ball.
the NYXL. I think Ball is a little bit better here because there's a lot more avenues for him to roll around. Unlike Control Center. Unless the ball just goes in like this, at which point he should have been dead. Fortunately, no follow-up.
But New York have a different tank
Oh no, Flora.
still, so maybe that's why you don't want to play the wrecking
Okay, Flora manages to kill the
still. So
Moira instead. What the fuck?
this round. But New York have a different tank line. They have the Zen still, so maybe that's why you don't want to play.
Oh, because okay, it's mostly Yaki and Kellen helping with that.
And here's Yaki. Here for
Never mind.
5 on in. Myumba with that biotic grenade connection on Sparkle. Probably his best hero here in the Ana.
How is this working? Their backline is... Oh, their backline is just free spamming right now.
Here for a dive on in. Myumba with that biotic
Yeah,
grenade
there's no one diving them.
Probably his best hero
Never mind.
in the Ana. New York wipe their hands.
That's why they won.
So now it's Dallas' turn to figure out if they want to
0 harassment for the backline of the NYXL here.
damage and just the geography of this map may not suit the wrecking ball the best. It looks like at least now they'll stay on it. So 10 plus the Ana, you have the biotic grenades.
Okay, so now you need to find a way for them to group up and then dive them.
Control this right side. Try to like.
If you're the Dallas Fuel.
These teams are looking to poke at each other anyway, so a lot of the fight is just going to happen.
God, this is still so awkward with this this
Here, Kellen,
Moira though.
that's crucial. Flora's already found the point.
Yeah.
Fielder there as well. Fielder having a tough time picking up that first coalescence.
Fearless, you're gonna die.
He will get away with that for sure.
Just stop.
The health pack, make sure he doesn't able to live, but doesn't matter, rolls right into Flora, so Kellen when he hits these nano.
So the problem right now for the Dallas Fuel is that they can't find a way to dive the backline of the NYXL,
Luxury, Matt, of having a power block in
while despite having a theoretically undivable backline, the Dallas Fuel backline is actually getting
I mean, there's really no
fucked.
right? Dallas does not have, they don't have a break, they don't have Discord, they don't have
Mostly because their Moira's diving with them.
sleeve dart, even an accretion, right? There's like nothing in the way that's going to stop Kellen from getting in there and causing problems.
There's Gangnam Jim again.
Okay. This is pretty bad. Oh, never mind. Yaki actually gets obliterated by the pulse bomb. The follow-up to that would have been a Genji Blade, and the Genji Blade would have destroyed them.
Second round here. Yeah, Fearless looking a little different there as he looks to drop the mines out in front. Great positioning for the
In front? Why? The point would have been so much more useful to bomb.
Sparkle's going for the
I guess they're preventing the rotation of the supports of the NYXL, and that's why they bombed the front. Yeah, they are. Okay, okay. I can see that.
Oh dear. This is uncomfortable to watch.
Yaki is almost dead. Doesn't die.
My guy.
Edison was not there in time.
Story means Yaki just needs to get
Unlucky.
Yeah, you just have to
Yeah, I think as Yaki you just need to die now.
Sparkle and
You already have 99. You just need to regroup, farm ults, and engage.
condition of taking this whole point, right? Get the nano boost, give it on to Kellen.
Okay, so there's gonna be at least one more match, I think, after this one. Unless the NYXL just hard choke. Gangnam Jin already has a good pick off.
How impactful has he been on this end? Maybe one of the best end performances we've seen this season in the West. Good pressure, but Yaki got a crumble there as Sparkle goes hunting for him now. There is a nano boost here available. It's going to be the Zenyatta that gets it. It's going to be dangerous to get stuck.
Wait, what? Wait, how are they collapsing right now?
Performances we've seen this season. This in another first pick. How impactful has he been on
Okay, so the Dallas Fuel forced them to rotate, which is actually pretty smart because there's a chance that their supports are going to be playing together and or out of position. And then this also breaks up the line of sight for the NYXL DPS. Right now, they don't really have a good line of sight of their teammates, and thus they can't be healed. That's why they both die. Alright. The Dallas Fuel should win this.
Fearless able to find Myunbong and Dallas remain in charge for now. New York have to come up with something real soon.
Yeah, and you almost kind of think that the pressure might be getting to them in this type of situation. No,
Yeah, the NYXL are choking now.
and kind of see it slip away just a little bit, but maybe Flora can land this pulse bomb, put this point in favor of NYXL. As he does
Oh no! The strafe! The last minute strafe! Honestly, well, okay, so you're in a position where you kind of need to clutch. So yeah, going for a high-risk play is a thing, but I think you still wait for your team to engage. Oops, I muted the thing by accident. Alright, they're grouped up, they're fucked. They're absolutely fucked. Yep, yep. And I think that's over. That is it. At the very end, it's the NYXL who could not cut the mustard. So I think the biggest weakness for the NYXL right now is the fact that NYXL have one comp, one good comp, and that is Doomfist Dive, right? This is the weakness of the NYXL right now. Not that there's a lot of things that other teams can do about that, but it's very easy to have a counterplay if you can predict what they're going to do, what their game plan is every single time, right? And as for the Dallas Fuel, I think what they need to work on is just initiative, first of all. Just preventing rotations from the enemy team, right? Preventing rotations and pulling the trigger, just pulling the trigger before the enemy team. At least not, but not before the choke happens. Apart from that, just remembering their own win conditions. Because most of the time they kind of forget. They kind of forget what their win condition is and they do stupid shit on the Dallas Fuel. And yeah, I think that is it for me for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. If you do like this content, please do like and subscribe. I am now going to go ahead and wait if I'm going to get that beta invite for Overwatch 2. Probably not. I don't know. We'll see in about an hour. But yeah, for me, I'm gonna go ahead and rest my voice. I'll see you all tomorrow, and hopefully I do get into the beta.